Yo, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm pleased to announce the release of not just one, but two freestyle frames. The new Osiris V2 and the new Archon V4. So I've been working on these two frames for about a year and a half now. Those of you who have been following me long enough will know that that's where it all started. Freestyle frames. Particularly 5-inch freestyle frames. That's where I started designing, and that's what I've been doing for the longest time. It's only really in the last 2 or 3 years that I've been playing around with cameras and cinelifters and much bigger drones. But I've never forgotten my roots, and obviously I fly 5-inch freestyle drones more than anything else. So I really wanted to concentrate on updating my two frames, the Archon and the Osiris, and bring out new versions of both. When I design a new frame, all I'm looking for is something new and different and innovative. So one thing that I see way too often that I really hate to see these days is everyone using the little plastic feet that come out of the bottom of the GoPro, and they're using just some little bit of TPU stuck up with a bolt going through, and the GoPro can go from minus 90 degrees, so looking straight down, or it can go all the way back into your battery. It's not good for drones, in my opinion. Suspending a GoPro above your frame, holding it by this tiny little mounting point in the middle, it's just not a good idea in my opinion. So I've always much preferred a TPU mount that wraps around the GoPro and holds it nice and tight and securely to the frame. Not just for when you crash and it keeps the GoPro more secure, but also for flight characteristics in the frame. When the camera is locked into the frame, it just flies a lot better. What I've managed to come up with, and this is on both frames, but with the Osiris it's an optional addition. So if you don't want an adjustable action camera mount, then you don't need to fit this, and you can build it just like an original Osiris V2 and use a TPU mount. But built into the top plate here, we have an adjustable mount that lets you adjust the GoPro angle from 0 to 30 degrees. And then you lock it in place with a bolt going through there. The Archon V4 also features this, but it's always in place, so it's not optional. This one's always in place. And this is where my want or need for an adjustable mount came in, really, because the original Archon used these vertical plates to create the angle of the GoPro. So I always made them 30 degrees because I usually fly at 30 degrees, or at least I used to. But then anyone who wanted 20 degrees had to raise the back of the GoPro up to lower it down, and it was never very good. So I've always wanted to have an adjustable angle on the Archon, and now on the Archon V4 I have got it in the way of this. So this also goes from 0 to 30 degrees and locks in place using a bolt on either side. So both the new freestyle frames can run this adjustable action camera mount. And the other thing that both of these frames feature is dual spines. So instead of just one spine, there's two spines. Now, those of you who are not familiar with these frames already, the Osiris was the first frame to put a piece of carbon running through the center of the frame, allowing you to just providing a hell of a lot more strength through the middle of the frame and allowing you to spread the mounting points where the arms meet in the middle. I've moved on from using just one spine, and now it uses two spines, so a dual spine. So there's two spines in there, and the arms on both of them actually use the same concept of the arms actually interlock with each other. So I'll show you now, but there's a piece of, like half the thickness of the carbon of the arm is cut away on the bottom here where they mount together, so they can overlap, and that allows you to just use one bolt going through both arms. So the Osiris frame as standard comes with 25mm deck height, so 25mm standoffs here, and the adjustable action camera mount also is designed for running the 25mm standoffs. Now you can do it as a slammed version, so you can reduce this to 20mm standoffs, and you can get shorter camera plates there. That's what I've used on my build here, so you can see that it's really tight in there, but everything fits neatly. If you do the build all properly, there's plenty of room for everything. So yeah, this is the slammed version of the Osiris, and you can see here I'm running a GoPro 11 Mini. So keeping this as light as possible is always the way to go. You don't want to be choosing the lightest frame on the market and then loading it up with all the heaviest components. Best thing you can do with this frame is to build it all up with the lightest possible components. But I don't like to skimp on the action cam, so you're better off using a good action cam like an 11 Mini. And yeah, the Osiris frame not including the action cam adjustable mount is 97 grams. So I've managed to keep this frame a sub 100 gram 5-inch freestyle frame without making it some ridiculously weak frame. In fact, this is a hell of a lot stronger than the original Osiris without adding any extra weight. Where I've been able to save the weight is actually by making the center area of this a lot smaller, and you can only run a 20x20 stack in this as well. So I've been running 20x20 stacks in my 5-inch freestyle drones for 5 or 6 years now without any issues. 30x30 stacks, in my opinion, are really only used for cinelifters or things that are going to be carrying a hell of a lot of weight. So a 20x20 stack is absolutely fine in one of these. That's the only compromise, is that you have to run a 20x20 stack in this, which I know some people won't like, but trust me bro, it's absolutely fine. Just buy a good one. Now the Archon V4 is a fixed 20mm height deck, but you can fit a 30x30 or a 20x20 stack in there. So here is my one built up, and you'll see that this one is actually quite a bit bigger than this, and that's because this is 6-inch arms running 5-inch props. So as you can tell, there's a 5-inch version and a 6-inch version. Personally, I absolutely love flying the 6-inch version with 5-inch props, and you can run bigger, like 5.2s are really nice, and you could put 6-inch on there as well, but personally I just like the more responsive feel of a 5-inch prop. There's something about running the motors further apart that just makes it flow really nice. Between flying the Osiris V2 and the Archon V4, this is a far more flowy and smooth ride, whereas this is a more aggressive and juicy ride. So this being light and the props all being nice and tight together really lends itself to aggressive and juicy style of flying, whereas the Archon V4 being a lot bigger, it just flows super nice. You can just fly it around. You can still fly either in both styles, but I've tried to tweak the designs to really lend themselves to each style. So really there is only two styles. You're either going mental or being all juicy, or you're flying around nice and smoothly across trees, across fields and things like that. Whereas where the Archon V4 really lends itself to that. So yeah, 2 new freestyle frames designed for 2 different styles of freestyle flying, both with adjustable GoPro angles, both super rigid and both pretty light. This, I've said earlier, the Osiris V2 comes in at 97 grams and the Archon V4, including the adjustable action camera mount, comes in at 135 grams. So still quite a bit lighter than a lot of frames out there. Flies so good. So yeah, check out the footage now and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.